and welcome to another episode of Chennai AI Community Podcast. Let's explore the world of artificial intelligence through interesting conversations. So today we have with us data engineer Shazama. Hi Shazama.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Super excited to be here. Thanks
See-
for welcoming.
Thank you so much for taking time and coming here.
No problem.
So Shazama, I would like to start with what's your journey? Like how did you get into the field of AI?
So, starting AI. So, when I was in my final year, right? So, data science or AI was something buzzing word. Everywhere where I go, it was like AI. It's blooming. It's a scope. It has a very great future. So there were also some memes and all, like in 2050, everyone will be handling robots even
Yeah,
for small household chores. So this kept in, bugging my mind. I want to know what is there in this field. So after my college, I got an offer from a startup to join them as a data engineer. So without even thinking for a second, I accepted the offer, and that's where my first step into the AI begins and journey begins.
So maybe your intention was you're curious about this field and you
Yes.
got that opportunity, you grabbed that.
Yes.
So Shazama, if you can explain what is data engineering to the audience.
Yes. So data engineering is a field where data engineers collect data from millions of users. They transform it and store it efficiently. They set up pipelines to get the data from many sources and they settle it down in a central destination so that the downstream users can use the data, get insights from it, and also build AI systems.
Okay. So basically, the AI system is only as good as the data.
Right.
So it's in the traditional world of programming, it is as good as the programmer how they code it. But now with the AI, it is just the data. How good your data is, that determines. So data engineer plays a very vital role to give this data in first place.
Right.
So that the downstream data scientists or ML engineers, AI engineers, they can work and build product. So what are the different types of data, if you can just share with the audience?
So there are actually many forms of data.
Okay.
So even if you write something in a paper, that is also undigitalized data for us. So in technical terms, there are like structured data, unstructured data, spatial data, time series data. So there are many more like that.
Okay, so let's talk one by one. So let's say structured data. Can you give some examples about that?
So structured data is nothing but the proper tables, whatever. So if you go to an organization or a small store, so nowadays everybody is using computers. Even a small grocery store is using computers. They will have a small tabular format where they will store the products in a like row column.
Okay. So like Excel sheets,
yes, like
or the
an
billing
Excel
system.
sheet. Excel sheet is the best example of a structured data. Yeah.
Okay, so what would be how do we store the structured data? Like database normally.
Yes.
SQL databases we use. Okay. What about unstructured data?
So unstructured data is a form. It is not in a tabular format, but so the videos, the audios, whatever this podcast, what we're doing right now, is also is an unstructured data, right?
Yeah.
So videos, form, music, everything comes under unstructured data.
So anything like documents, PDF.
Yes.
All
the
this
files, everything comes as unstructured data.
Okay. Okay. So Shazama, what is semi-structured data then?
So semi-structured data, it has a combination of structured as well as unstructured data. To give an example, we can use this website data. Sometimes it is in a tabular format, or sometimes it is in a file format, JSON files or XML files. That's how semi-structured data is.
So okay, then what is the spatial data? What is
So spatial data, we get it from the maps. The map, the satellites, the latitudes, longitudes. That's where the spatial data comes from.
Okay, there is also time series data, right?
Yes, time series data is mainly used for stock prices. Yeah,
okay. So it's like timelines, or what is it? What is time series data?
So it is a data where the timestamp is attached for every millisecond how the data
so maybe
changes.
logs.
Yes, logs.
Scenarios like logs and
right,
all.
right.
Okay. So that makes sense. So what big data? If you can also explain what is big data for the audience.
Big data is very interesting. So big data is something the traditional databases cannot handle. So it is because of its volume and velocity, right? So it is the name given to that particular huge volume of data.
That's
so we need to use some tools to handle that.
Okay, so that's interesting insights about data. So if we can also cover what is the different types of storage. So we spoke about different datas, but how these different datas are being stored. Like if you can share some light on that.
Yes. So as I said, there's unstructured, structured, everything. So when it comes to structured data, we can store it in a traditional database, DBMS, SQL, we can use that. For unstructured data, we can use cloud or sometimes the files like that. And coming to spatial data, we can use PostGIS or Google Earth Engine. And for big data, again, cloud systems, GCS storage, S3 bucket. And for semi-structured data, MongoDB like that. And for time series, InfluxDB. There are so many
So basically, it's not like one database cannot fit all the different types of data. So there is, as variety of data also exists, so is the variety of the storage systems as well.
Right.
Okay, so that's interesting. So let's also speak out what are the different stages that is there in data engineering. So what does the process looks like? What are the different steps?
So there are many steps in data engineering. To give an example, there is like data collection, data storage, data transformations, monitoring. It goes on, yeah.
Okay. So then, let's speak about each of them. So in the data collections part, what is the normal things that?
So data collection,
as the word says, we collect data from different sources.
Yeah, we collect data from many sources.
Okay. So yeah, that is data collection. So what about data ingestion? If you can just share some light.
So once the data is collected, now we need to bring the data into a centralized system, right? We need to store it somewhere. So for that, it should happen sometimes in real time, or sometimes we can do it in batches. So we need to set up the pipelines for that. Yeah.
So I mean, for audience, pipelines is a system where you make sure that the data is continuously coming in. Like for example, somebody is using a stock app, so they should be knowing what is the real-time data that is for a performance for a particular stock. So that's the pipeline basically ensures that the real-time data is coming in. Okay.
Right.
So that's the ingestion part. What is the next stage?
Next stage again storage through properly store the data like in a format or where it has to be stored in a, as I said,
in the earlier we discussed
data,
so here the decision happens ki what are the different types of data and how to store that.
Right.
Okay, so what is the next part of
so
it?
Next is transformation. Again, now transformation, the main part, the main core comes in.
Okay.
So here we transform the data how we want, and we clean sometimes. We do ELT, that is extract, transform and load. We use some coding language to clean the data. Yeah, that's how.
So basically making sure that the data is good to use for further downstream.
Right.
Like for example, any null values or any outliers or whatever, this is being done, taken care of this.
It not only includes cleaning, sometimes we also calculate and give it. So sometimes the calculation also comes inside the transformations.
Okay, that's interesting. So what will be the next stage of it?
Next stage will be data integration. So now once we have got all the data, so it's in bits and parts.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
We have to, when we give it to the downstream, we need to properly give it in a proper way. So we create a unified view for that. So however they want this data, this should be in this view or something like that. We give it in a unified view.
Okay, so something that it's more
everything putting in a fruit should be in a fruit basket like that.
Organized and you can give it in that way. Okay, so what is the monitoring? What is the other further steps in this project?
Monitoring, see, when I said pipelines, sometimes pipelines tend to break. So we need to take care of the pipelines. So we need to monitor whether a data is passing, whether we are the smooth way we have paved, right? We need to check whether the car is moving smoothly from one source to destination. Yeah,
makes sense. So this is like, is there anything else we missed, or I think is all covered?
Data governance comes in. So the protection,
security and all that. Okay.
So the data is like very crucial nowadays. So even one consumer's data or customer's data is very, very confidential. So we need to take care of the data governance and we need to protect the data as much as we can.
So that is adding the encryptions and relevant, required security systems to ensure that data access is not being given to somebody unauthorized. So basically ensure
protecting it from the hackers,
hacker, and also even from internal
organizations,
also, only the required people can only access the data. Okay, so this is the entire normal data engineering flow.
Right.
Okay, so Shazama, if you can tell what is latest and cool stuff that's going in data engineering, you can share.
That's a great question. So AI powered data engineering, it's a game changer, and it's a savior for all data engineers.
Okay.
So we use, nowadays everybody is using AI, right?
Yeah.
So in data engineering field, we also use AI. You know, sometimes it takes care of some certain task on its own, and sometimes it assists us with some task.
So some task it is able to independently do it, and some obviously is a great assistant.
Yes.
So what are the tasks that it is able to do on its own?
So some task like, you know, if you have a data and you want to find anomalies, so there is like, no, it's not like a small piece of data, right?
Yeah,
it is like
huge,
tons of millions of data. So AI takes care of finding anomalies inside, finding any issues with the data on its own, and it's a great help for us.
Definitely, the manual effort is saved here. So what are the tasks where it provides to, serves to be a good assistant, like it helps any data engineer?
So AI helps us, you know, generating SQL queries, sometimes generating if we give the code and it gives us a proper explanation, we cannot understand somebody else's code, right?
Yeah.
So it gives us an explanation. Sometimes it creates a documentation. Likewise, it helps us in
so
many
it basically
more things.
in normal workflow it makes it easier.
Yes, and sometimes it also helps assist us in creating pipelines as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the other things? So this is from a developer perspective. Like, is there any other areas where it's proving to be very helpful?
One trending thing what's happening here is like low code platforms. Low code platforms are for the stakeholders who are technical as well as non-technical, who can, with diverse skills, you know, they can interact with the data.
Okay, so now accessing data and getting insight is not limited to technical people, but also these kind of tools are helping the non-technical stakeholders also to interact with the data and get the required insight. So for somebody who want to understand a little more on data engineering, if you can just give some real example where how this can be, how this real happens in real time or how it's used.
Okay, a real life example. Let's take a food delivery app, you know. So on a weekend you want to eat something very nicely. So at the behind the scenes, what happens once you place an order, right? The data is collected from various sources, from the restaurant menu, from the available drivers, their location, and updated traffic systems, and there are many more things like the timing, the delivery time, everything. It calculates. You know, data engineers at the back end, they calculate everything on the fly. They set up systems and they set up this pipeline to calculate everything. Where is the driver, what location he is, and what is the delivery time, and what cost is what that food is there in your area. And likewise, it is collected, it is stored, it is transformed, and on the fly it is sent to your mobile application.
So it's like normally when people enjoy their meal, this is not something normally runs in back of their head. So a data engineer basically has to set up the pipeline for everything, right? Like from the restaurants, there has to be a menu pipeline. From the customers, maybe what is his preference, order,
everything,
all this house details,
and also the behind the models, there will be recommendation models, right? So we take the data and we give it to the customers in that app. So you have previously ordered this, and this time you will like this. So everything that is engineered, right, at the front end. So, and also sometimes we need to calculate the cost properly. It shouldn't show you a wrong cost, and it shouldn't show you, you know, a wrong delivery time. It should be accurate, right?
Correct.
The data quality also matters there.
Yeah, because the customer experience at the end of the day is what I'm just recalling one or two scenarios where maybe the data engineering would have gone wrong. When I ordered some food and the restaurant called me and said that that is not available.
Oh, okay.
So maybe there would be some gaps in the glitch where the order is placed, but that food item is actually sold. So if the pipelines are set correctly, so this glitch is not going to happen.
Right.
Okay, that's okay. That's
every data engineer has to strive hard for you to enjoy your meal. Actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, looks like a lot of work. So what is your secret to keep yourself updated?
So I keep my self updated using the main source is LinkedIn.
Okay.
So LinkedIn has so much of stuff. So what are the current trends and what is new in the market, what technologies are there, and I also go through the blogs and as well as some informative YouTube videos, and sometimes news as well,
so
to keep it a lot
and
of
what is
stuff.
the frequency you would say? Like how frequent you feel the necessity to be updated?
I would suggest, using LinkedIn at least once in a day. Not for, finding jobs or making connections, but to go through the feed.
Okay.
So that feed has so much of informative stuff. Like people, nowadays people post what is the trend going on in their organization, and what sometimes the AI community, they post the AI related stuff. Likewise, yeah.
So I mean, this is one question that I'm asking all the guests, and this is the exact same answer we're getting. That every day we have to look and we have to keep ourselves updated.
Right.
There is literally not like I can come back after 1 week.
No. After 1 week, the whole world will change for you.
Okay. So let's say if somebody aspires to be a data engineer, and what are some of the steps you would recommend them to prep themselves for this role?
Yes. So let's take a student who wants to be a data engineer. So I would suggest them to be strong in coding, or SQL or Python. So that is the base. And apart from that, it's good to have some hands-on in this cloud. And also it's good to enroll themselves in hackathons, and I'll join some AI courses, and also for interviews they can do mock interviews, so that they can easily enter data science field.
Yeah, so I mean all this together makes a strong profile.
Right.
Yeah, it's not this or that.
No.
Yeah. And also maybe meetups also is something they can.
Yeah, they should definitely
go for meetups and network.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an interesting insight for people to prepare. So for a typical data engineer job role, what does the interview rounds look like? If you can just share some light on that.
Yes. So for a student who wants to appear for a data engineering interview, he should be, as a first round, he or she should be ready for the coding challenge.
Okay.
So the coding, again, it is like Python. They test your, since you're a fresher, they test your SQL, Python, and also they check whether you have some of basic concepts of cloud, or this Hadoop systems, Apache systems, if you have some knowledge about it. And apart from that, on the second round, they test your logical skills. They give you a scenario, and they check how you are responding to it, and how you are proactively capturing ideas. So they check your logical skills.
So this logical will be based on whatever is learned from that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say about any configuration or server, what are better ways of doing things, something like that, or maybe from their project. Okay.
And they also definitely ask about your final year project, and how did you achieve that, what are the challenges you have faced in your final year project. So these are the things. And third round, again, it's an HR round. It will be like based on a behavioral round, and
communication
and communication is very must here, because I have seen students who are very good at technical, but sometimes they mess up because of communication. Yeah, that's how.
That's true.
Yeah, mostly for a fresher, it will be, in most of the organizations, it should be only 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, to summarize, the basic technical skills, which involves Python, SQL, and understanding of what is the current AI/ML landscape now, data engineering, what is there, and a strong understanding of what project they have worked and whatever technically they have learned, because the scenario based questions can come along with the communication skills. Okay, I think that should help
and
people.
Also they should have some understanding of this big data, how to handle big data. So that everywhere it's like big data only, right? So Hadoop systems, Apache systems, they should have like this master worker concepts and all. If they have, internet is full of informative stuff. They can get anything from there. So if at all, I would recommend students to, before the interview, go through some videos about this Apache, Hadoop and all. it will be helpful for them. Yeah.
So again, the point here is that don't just, maybe the college syllabus, don't stick to that.
No.
You have to go and see what is the latest and do that.
Yes.
Okay. I think that today was a very powerful session packed with a lot of data engineering insight. So thank you, Shazama, for taking time today once again. To come here and share so much knowledge on this.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah. So as we explore this world of AI, let's do it responsibly and ethically. With that note, I would like to thank again Shazama. Thank you everyone for staying with us for so long. Have a nice day. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.